Breaking. A mayor has just threatened to abolish the British monarchy, and King Charles has retaliated with a power few even knew existed. Within 48 hours, one of them will face political ruin. This is the constitutional clash now tearing London apart, a conflict that could determine whether Britain's future is ruled by democracy or tradition. Here's what's being kept from the public. 5 days ago, London Mayor Sadiq Khan stood before the cameras and unveiled the London Citizenship Charter, compelling every business in the capital to sign diversity agreements or face fines of up to $50,000. His exact words, "London will lead Britain into the 21st century, whether the establishment likes it or not." King Charles heard that, and for the first time in 3 centuries, invoked a rarely known constitutional authority called crown intervention, an obscure power allowing the monarchy to challenge a mayor's jurisdiction. Charles sent a formal letter to Parliament questioning whether Khan had exceeded his authority. Then the palace released that letter publicly, a move widely seen as a declaration of political war. Khan's response came swiftly. Yesterday at 4 p.m., he stood outside City Hall, voice trembling, hands gripping the lectern. The unelected king has just told the democratically elected mayor of London that he knows better than 8 million Londoners who voted for change, he said. This is not 1825. This is 2025. And I will not be silenced by a crown that has forgotten the people it claims to serve. The crowd behind him erupted. But inside Westminster, jaws dropped. 3 journalists at the scene reported witnessing the same moment. Khan's press secretary, David Bellamy, was frantically gesturing, mouthing "stop," pleading with Khan to end the speech. But Khan pressed on, energized by the crowd, pushing far beyond political convention. Then came his most direct strike yet, aimed squarely at the royal family. "How many palaces does one family need?" he said, "while ordinary Londoners can't afford rent?" The audience roared even louder. Twitter erupted within minutes. But inside Westminster, Labour's Shadow Home Secretary Yvette Cooper switched off her television. She reportedly told aides she couldn't bear to watch any longer. Panic was spreading within Khan's own party. Then came the stories that changed everything. James Morrison, aged 73, fought in the Falklands War and lost his right leg serving Britain. For 3 decades, he lived in a modest flat in Cutton. Last month, he was evicted to make space for social housing under Khan's new housing quotas. Morrison now sleeps in his daughter's spare room, surviving on a pension of $900 a month. "I fought for Britain," Morrison told reporters, tears running down his face. "And now Britain has no place for me in its own capital." His story spread rapidly, shared more than 300,000 times within 24 hours. The contrast was immediate and striking. While veterans like Morrison are losing their homes, Khan's office spent $2 million on diversity consultants last year. Leaked documents revealed City Hall had paid $18,000 for a single weekend retreat at a luxury spa in Surrey. $18,000 while pensioners freeze and veterans are pushed out of their own city. Sarah Jenkins, a 62-year-old retired nurse from Barking, recorded a video that's now been viewed over 1 million times. "I voted for him twice," she said through tears. "I believed in him, but he cares more about his image than he does about us." The polls shifted rapidly. Within just 72 hours, Khan's approval rating plunged by 18 points. Among voters aged over 50, it now stands at 19%. Even young progressives are turning away. His support among under 30s fell from 71% to 53% in just 3 days. Those are devastating figures for any politician. King Charles, meanwhile, did not retreat. At a royal reception for Commonwealth leaders yesterday, he delivered what palace insiders described as the most political speech by a monarch in 70 years. "The traditions that bind this nation together," Charles said, his voice calm and deliberate, "cannot be discarded by those who mistake temporary power for permanent authority. London belongs to all Britons, not to the ideological whims of any single mayor." The room fell completely silent. Diplomats froze mid-conversation. Palace aides later admitted they had pleaded with King Charles not to say it, fearing the political backlash, but he refused. According to several palace sources, Charles personally redrafted the speech 3 times, making it sharper and more forceful with each revision. He was drawing a line in the sand, and he wanted the nation to see it. At 11:23 p.m. last night, Khan hit back on Twitter. "The Crown lectures me about tradition while protecting inherited wealth and privilege. I answer to Londoners, not to palaces." The post was deleted just 17 minutes later, But by then, screenshots were circulating everywhere. Political strategists from both major parties described it as amateur hour. You don't start a fight with the monarchy on social media at midnight, then delete it, one said. It makes you look panicked, reactive, and out of control. Only hours later, Labour leader Keir Starmer released a damning statement. Khan's comments do not represent the Labour Party. When your own leader publicly distances themselves from you, it's over. That's political collapse unfolding in real time. The markets reacted instantly. The pound fell by 0.3% within minutes of Charles's address, wiping $1.2 billion from London's financial sector in a single day. Bloomberg analysts openly questioned whether the capital could remain a global financial hub if the turmoil persists. International investors are watching closely, and they do not like uncertainty. Protests erupted across the city within hours. Thousands waving Union Jacks filled the streets from Trafalgar Square to Tower Bridge, demanding Khan's resignation. Counter-protesters clashed with royalists outside Westminster. 12 arrests were made, 7 officers injured, and 3 police vehicles damaged. London hasn't seen street unrest of this scale since the 2011 riots, and it's worsening by the day. Inside City Hall, Khan's inner circle is fracturing. Deputy Mayor Sophie Linden reportedly threatened to resign during an emergency meeting on Tuesday, telling colleagues that Khan had crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. Another senior aide was overheard saying Khan's political judgment had completely collapsed. Multiple sources described him as exhausted, isolated, and obsessively scrolling through Twitter, unable to ignore any criticism. One long-serving aide who has worked with him for years said, "He knows he's in the fight of his political life, and he's not sure he can win." Then the entire story took a dramatic turn. The Telegraph obtained leaked documents from Khan's office. Internal emails dated September revealed strategy meetings in which Khan's team openly discussed manufacturing a confrontation with royal authority to energize progressive voters. One email from Khan's chief strategist stated, "We need a villain. The crown is perfect, unelected, wealthy, traditional, everything our base opposes." If these documents are genuine, this wasn't a spontaneous reaction to royal interference. It was a calculated strategy. Khan may have deliberately provoked the king, expecting a wave of public sympathy for an elected mayor standing up to an unelected monarch. But he disastrously misread Britain in 2025. The country isn't prepared to abandon the monarchy, certainly not for a mayor whose policies have left London less safe, less affordable, and more divided than ever. Constitutional historian Professor David Starkey described the leaked emails as the most cynical act of political manipulation I've seen in 50 years of studying British politics. The Conservative opposition quickly seized the moment. Party leader Kemi Badenoch held a press conference this morning that sounded more like a campaign launch than a statement. While Sadiq Khan attacks the king, she said, staring directly into the cameras, real Londoners suffer. Crime is up 23%. Housing affordability is at record lows. 12,000 businesses have fled the capital in the past year. And his response? To attack the one institution that still unites this country. The statistics reinforce her claims. Knife crime in London has risen by 31% since Khan took office. Average rent has climbed 48%. Small businesses are leaving the city in record numbers. And now Conservative support in London has surged from 31% to 42% in just 4 days. For the first time since 2016, the Conservatives are leading Labour in Greater London polling. Impossible just 2 weeks ago. Yet the next 72 hours will determine everything. Khan now faces 3 major pressure points. On Monday, a vote of no confidence, where his own Labour councillors may turn against him. On Thursday, an emergency parliamentary debate, during which Conservative MPs are set to demand a formal inquiry into whether Khan exceeded his constitutional authority. And on Saturday, mass protests expected to draw more than 100,000 royalists into central London, potentially the largest demonstration the city has witnessed in decades. The question is no longer whether Khan can survive politically, it's whether London itself can withstand the turmoil his confrontation has unleashed. Britain is watching its capital unravel in real time, torn between those who believe elected leaders should challenge outdated institutions and those who believe certain traditions must stand above political ambition. Not since the abdication crisis of 1936 has royal authority been challenged so directly by an elected official. At the center of it all stands Sadiq Khan, increasingly isolated, increasingly desperate, and increasingly finished. So here's the question you need to decide. Did Khan just commit political suicide by declaring war on King Charles? Or did Charles overstep by intervening in London's politics? Who wins this battle? The elected mayor or the unelected king? Share your view in the comments below. Do you stand with Khan or with Charles? Should Khan step down immediately, or does he have the right to oppose royal interference? This isn't just London's struggle. It's about the future of democracy and tradition in Britain, and your voice matters. If this story shocked you, share it with everyone you know. The mainstream media is focusing only on the surface-level drama, but they're not showing the leaked documents, the veteran stories, or the internal collapse within Khan's team. We are, and tomorrow, we'll release the full leaked emails that prove Khan orchestrated this entire confrontation from the very start. What those emails expose about his true plan for London will completely change how you view this crisis. Subscribe and turn on notifications now, because the next 48 hours will decide whether a mayor or a monarch shapes the future of Britain's capital. This is history unfolding in real time, and you won't want to miss what happens next.